welcome you here for a similar round, let me call it round table, for lack of a better word, summit as they call it here. But it's a discussion. We had one not too long ago on energy. This is on infrastructure. And I think it's a positive engagement between government, private sector, and through the media with the people of Kenya on what is happening. And I think this is part and parcel of being transparent, being open, and allowing Kenyans, who are ultimately those that we work for, an opportunity to engage with their government, to engage with the various agencies on what is being done with their taxpayers' money, what is being done to move Kenya forward, what is being done to transform this country. And indeed, the only way we can know whether we're doing right or wrong is through an engagement such as this. I've been watching for the good part of the morning the engagement that you've had with the minister and his PSs and senior officials. And I think it's positive. And I encourage it. I encourage it because it tells us where we're going right. It also tells us where we're going wrong. But it also tells us where we need to do more. And so through this kind of engagement, I believe, we can make good progress. I just want to make a couple of points with regard to infrastructure. Because the biggest problem about infrastructure is that it is expensive. It costs a lot of money. And given the fact that it costs a lot of money, it attracts a lot of attention. And thereby, we, or those who are charged with the responsibility of building infrastructure, have a probably greater onus than most in terms of accountability. And we need to discuss and to deliberate as to how best we handle this issue of infrastructure. Because the fact cannot be lost on us, whether we like it or not. Infrastructure is a necessity if our economy is to grow and if we are to achieve the prosperity we desire as a people and as a nation. So we can't run away from it. And there was one question, I heard being raised, and I'd like us to deal with from the very onset. A question that was raised here, I heard it. I think I was watching on TV, and I heard. Don't know whether it was you who raised or Jeff. One of you raised a question as to an article on The Economist that we are doing this SGR, and the Economist stating that this was uneconomical. I want to pose a question. Less than about 20, 30 years ago, and we have always stated this, Kenya was probably on the same growth trajectory as what was then, because they are no longer, growing tigers. The Asian tigers, who are now full-grown tigers. They are not growing anymore, they are full-grown and challenging the world for that matter. And I remember a similar situation where they were challenged and being told that they were investing in infrastructure. Same World Bank saying this is unnecessary, this is just expensive, this is not necessary, this is not required. I just want to pose a question to those who challenge us when we as a country, as a continent, are investing in infrastructure. Where are those tigers today? Where are they today? Where are those nations today? They are probably amongst the fastest growing, most prosperous nations in the world. And they ignored the World Bank, they ignored the IMF. Today they actually have their own banking institution, they have their own development bank, growing their economies. Please, we know what we need, we know what we must do. We are no longer going to be the dumping ground for products, for goods, while our people have no jobs, while our people suffer in poverty. We are going to move to the next level. Regardless of what the economist says, regardless of what anybody says, we are going to move to that next level. And that is a commitment we have, and we are going to. And the only way we're going to do it is to invest. The challenge we have is to ensure that we invest appropriately. The challenge we have is to ensure that we invest without corruption. The challenge we have is to ensure that we use and utilize the resources in that sector in the best possible manner. That is the challenge. Not whether we should do it or not, because to do it we shall. And we encourage other countries in the neighborhood. And that's why I keep saying, when people say, oh, Tanzania is doing that, Ethiopia is doing that, Djibouti is doing that, what is the problem? All these corridors will be interlinked. We want to open up our economies. We want to interlink our people. So what if everybody else is doing it? Yes, let's do it, but do it cost effectively. Let us open up our region, our countries, our region, our people to trade with the rest of the world. And that's perfectly in order. So please, ladies and gentlemen, don't tell us what the economist is saying based on the interests of the Western world. We are interested in the interests of the people of Kenya. We are interested in the interests of the people of our region. So that is not a question that should stop us. We must move forward. But like I'm saying, the question that is valid is that we must ensure that the resources we put into this sector, into infrastructure, are utilized in the most efficient, practical manner possible. And that is why we came up with this agenda of doing the low volume seal rolls. Because why, and we must ask ourselves, why has it taken us so long to open up? Because of the cost. And this issue of cost is very important. And this is a challenge, and I've heard it come through, and I continue to challenge these people and others are sitting around here. Why does a road have to cost 120 million shillings a kilometer? Because I ask, they say, you got to carry I don't know what, and it has to carry I don't know what, and it has to be designed in accordance with what. Hii ni uongo, hii ni njia ya kuiba pesa. Na ni ukweli. It's the truth. All right? Kwa sababu, I say, which 40 tonner is going to my village in Ishaweri? That you need to build a road to carry 40 tons, and the biggest truck that comes from Ishaweri is carrying majani ya chai, which is less than 10k or 20 kg. Yani, siyo ni kuiba. Jameni. Why do I need that kind of a road going to my village? All my village needs is a good road that can carry a good canter, that can carry majani ya chai kuitoa kutoka kijiji kuipeleka mpaka port ya Mombasa. Au ni namna gani jameni? Hiyo barabara kwani jameni, should it cost hiyo bei hawa wanatuambia huku? Hiyo inawekwa kwa sababu wanaiba. And I challenge them. And I'm glad I've heard some people here challenging that. Challenge these people, because it is only our highways that require that kind of weight, that kind of load. But surely my village only just needs to come from Ishaweri to hit the main road or Thika road. Na hiyo imemtosha. And he knows that he can do it whether it is raining, whether it is what, hiyo ndio anahitaji. And if we did that, we would open up all our roads, we would enable our people to access markets, we would reduce the cost of farmer losses as a result of vitu vinaoza kwa shamba kwa sababu nobody can get them out of into kwa soko. This is the way we need to think, and this is the challenge that these people have. This is the challenge that these people have. And I'm glad you're asking them those questions, because this is what I ask them. And this is what we need to achieve in order for us to be able to move forward. And we can do it. It is possible if we work together. There are also other roads that we can also allow private sector to do. And as private sector does those roads, let them toll them. Let them toll them. They toll them. It's an alternative. Because government, and we must be honest, with the infrastructure deficit that we have, unless we are going to say we are going to wait for the next 50 years, we need to cooperate and to partner with private sector. And I believe that it is possible. We can do it. So that those roads that actually open up for Mwananchi, let government do. Those roads that can be profitable, let private sector do. And together in partnership, we open up the country. I think that's what we desire to do. That's where we wish to go. And that's the direction we must go in. The other factor, again, and I don't know, there was a gentleman I saw on TV, sijui kama ni wewe. Ni wewe ulisema hiyo matatu inazimika kwa shimo. And that's again a very valid question, which I believe that you should pose to these people. And that is, even as we build infrastructure, what of the infrastructure that we have already built? How are we maintaining it? And that is a question also we should ask about, how do we utilize our road levy? We have a system and a structure, and I don't want to fight with anybody, where we have MPs, we have counties, we have the national government, everybody vying for the same pot, saying it's my responsibility. It's not a question of whose responsibility is it. Mwananchi just wants a good road, That's what they want. So we need to be able to sit and frankly and positively discuss with one another. It doesn't mean that money must go to the MP, or money must go to the county, or money must retain with the national government. We just must maintain our roads properly. And this is a question Kenyans should also ask themselves, right? Who is best able to do this? Because it is a challenge. It is a challenge because the way the law has been, there are some roads that were maintained. We've tried to reclassify the roads now. Hopefully that should make it better and make it much clearer as to whose responsibility is who. But ultimately, regardless of whose responsibility is whose, all the monies that are doing this belong to the 42 million Kenyans who pay taxes. And all they want is not whether it's the national government, the county government, the MP who's doing the road. They just want the road. Hiyo ndio haja yao. Hawana haja ni nani anaifanya, wanataka barabara. So we need to also ask ourselves, how do we address ourselves to those kind of situations? Finally, and nataka muendelee, I don't want to interfere with what you're doing. Yeah? Muendelee kuuliza maswali. Na ni vizuri muendelee kuuliza maswali. Hiyo ni haki yenu na ni haki ya Wakenya. Is my dear good lady, the first woman managing director of the Kenya Ports Authority. Congratulations, well done. Don't throw the buck to these people. There is corruption in the port, and we know it. Deal with that. You stop it there. Yeah? Let us work together to identify who amongst the people in this room are the thieves. But you must first of all make sure that they don't have access to your port. That is the bottom line, right? First and foremost, that they don't have access to your port. because we will catch them eventually. Wako hapa tu wanaiba, watu tunayawajua. So let us not say it is sisi kwanza, tuhakikishe uwezi hawataingia wapi? Kwa port. Na ni simple namna hiyo. Tusiwe tunaambiwa na Uganda na Tanzania na wengine vizigo yao imeibiwa. Tusiambiwe ya kwamba Mombasa ni port ya drugs. Hapana. Kwa sababu hata kama ni port ya drugs, si hata wewe umekaa hapo, lazima ujue hiyo meli imeshukisha nini. Si ni kweli? Na inaenda wapi? Iwe namna hiyo, na najua tutashinda. I just want to congratulate and say, let us continue. We are not going to build this world. We are not going to build this country. We are not going to create prosperity for our people without engagement, without dialogue. All I say is, let us criticize, but let us criticize positively with the idea of making things better. Kwa sababu sisi kama Wakenya saa ingine tunalia, lakini hatuleti suluhu. Mimi nawaomba tuwe watu ambao watasema hii ni mbaya kweli, lakini pamoja tutafanya nini ndio tupate suluhu ambayo italete utajiri, ambayo italete ajira, ambayo italete maendeleo kwa taifa letu na kwa wananchi wetu. Thank you very much. Please, nawarudisha kwa hawa wananchi wema. Wajue ya kwamba sio mimi peke yao na wauliza maswali, hata Wakenya wako na maswali wanataka yajibu. Asanteni sana. Thank you.